So, this is Scapegoat again with Witchsorrow. We're going to have a little interview about their lineage, where they come from, all that's really happening with their tour. So can we start at the beginning and end at date? How did you guys get together? Where are you from? Things like that.
We're from Hampshire in the south of England. We started about 11 years ago. Well, it's 11 years since our first gig. We started like 8 months before that, so we've been together for about 12 years. Not with Dave. He joined 6 years ago.
Yeah. Young pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than Emily, but 3 years.
What's his thought?
Yeah, like for years I wanted to have like a doom band. Like even when I was at school, like I was really into bands like Cathedral, Electric Wizard, Orange Goblin, and stuff like that. Caius and Fu Manchu, and I wanted to have a band like that where, you know, you're playing Gibson SG, playing through an orange amp, playing big fuzzy riffs and stuff. And that was what I really, really wanted to do. And I was never able to get that kind of band together for like 5 or 6 years since I started wanting one. And then when I came with it, you know, I decided that I really wanted to start one. And Emily immediately jumped in and said she wanted to play the bass and kind of insisted on it. Her reason being, I won't see you otherwise.
You've done other bands before, hadn't you? I'd always kind of been the wag.
Yeah, you've always been a bit jealous of like driving around places and doing stuff.
Well, I'd kind of come with you, but in a sort of wag.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how we started. That's actually worked out wicked. I think that's kind of the reason why we've lasted so long, is because Emily and I are in it, and it's kind of what we do together, and there isn't anyone feeling like left out.
Okay,
then. Or left at home.
Just my wife.
Yeah. So, I ask every single band, what's with the band name? How'd you come up with that?
It appeared to me in a vision one day. Honestly, like...
Were drugs involved?
No, weirdly. Occasionally, things just hit you straight in the face, and that was one of them. Just suddenly appeared in my head one day, and I was sort of, cool, that's the band name sorted out. And it was simple as that. I sort of came... In reverse, I came up with a slight explanation of it, like, you know, there's no one more miserable than a witch being burnt at the stake. Their sorrow must have been great.
Pretty grim.
Yeah. So I thought that was a sort of good explanation for it. But really, it came into my head one day, and I thought it sounded like a really cool band name.
There's no doubt what like genre and things it is.
When I started the band, I really wanted it to be just doom, like in a Cathedral and St. Vitus and Solitude Eternus and Candlemass and bands like that.
Okay.
It was at the time when doom wasn't really big in the sort of the early 2000s. There was lots of cool bands, but it was still a very underground thing, and it was still... Electric Wizard weren't very big at the time. They were still playing at places like the Underworld. Mm-hmm. They were kind of a cult name, but no one ever thought they would do what they went on to do.
It's like the stoner bands that were big.
Yeah, the stoner bands were quite big, but like all the doom stuff, like Cathedral were... By that point, they were sort of an older band, I guess.
That era was all about fast, how fast you can go, grindcore and
there was a lot of
like that. So slowed down music. How dare you? That's easy to play.
There was a lot of sludge, but it was like really I Hate Goddy stuff. But there wasn't anyone that was really like the stuff that I was really into that made me think of like doom stuff, like skulls and old churches and gravestones and things like that.
Yeah, that B-movie sort of style stuff.
So there was like at the time there was Reverend Bazaar and the Gates of Slumber and Solstice, and that was kind of it. And they were quite militant about their sort of doominess, and I was dead into that because I was sort of trying to find the dooms in some of these other bands. But when I heard Reverend Bazaar for the first time and the first album came out, I was just blown away. I was like, this is exactly what I want. And I sort of really, you know, had quite a narrow vision for what the band could and should be, which has broadened as over, 12 years as it, as naturally would. But at the time it was very like focused. Like there was to be absolutely no like groove to it. There was to be no Hey Babies or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was all
full of Hey Babies.
Yeah. It was all at the time. It was all dead slow. It was all Gibson SGs. It was all like big crosses and stuff.
Yeah.
There was, there wasn't a trace of anything other than pure doom. And now we have a couple of other speeds.
Yeah.
As we say.
So that leads on absolutely perfectly. Can we go through the lineage of your albums from Witchsorrow all the way through? Because you started off like self-producing some bits and bobs and then refining, or did you just go straight onto the album sort of thing?
Well, we did a demo tape.
Funnily enough, produced by Dave before he was in the band.
I did I actually recorded the band before I was in it.
Right.
So I was sort of dabbling with recording and did like university degree and stuff in it. But I don't think it ever got released.
No, not that one.
I didn't
The
record
one-
the first one.
No, the one that we released, we did ourselves.
Yeah,
but
you
what,
did.
what
Yeah.
Dave? He did the tape, didn't he?
No,
Which was
the tape that we gave away for free, we did that in the rehearsal room with our old drummer.
Yeah, the first like,
So the one we spent a whole week sitting watching the X-Files. I bought a tape-to-tape, like a dubbing machine off
Yeah.
eBay, and we sat there and we did 150 of these fucking tapes. And it even though it was done in like high-speed thing, it still took forever because we were doing them all individually.
Yeah.
And it took so long. It was quite nice, feeling quite sort of productive about it, cottage industry, but it took all week.
cutting out all the covers.
Yeah, and we
Make
gave
an
them away
assembly
for
line.
free.
This is your job.
But yeah, so that was the first thing. The first album, it took us ages to actually get into a studio to do it. Because we got signed to Rise Above quite early on.
Yeah.
And then they didn't really put much pressure on us to do anything. And we were sort of waiting for them to tell us to get into a studio. So it took us a couple of years after them agreeing to put a record out for us to actually record anything.
But then it still sort of took us by surprise, I think, to an extent. That, oh, we're here. We have some songs. I
Yeah.
guess. What do we do now?
Yeah. That first record, it's weird. Because like none of us ever been in a recording studio before.
Mhm.
And I think we didn't have a lot of time in there, and I think we just weren't really prepared for what you're supposed to do in a recording studio. We thought it would be really like play the songs
Yeah.
and do a couple of overdubs, and it's not, because you have to focus a lot more, and it sort of took us by surprise. And I remember driving up. We was done at Foal Studio in Wales, and I remember driving up the driveway as soon as we were done, being like, next time, like we'll do this, 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 and this. And there's only one song I think we still play off that album live. And we're not
Rarely.
Yeah,
But yeah.
quite rarely though. I still like some of those songs, but they're, I don't know. It's a bit like
10
It was a
years
different
old.
era,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you're happy to leave it where it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So you're moving on to the
Yeah.
newer stuff.
I'm
I
sure
wasn't
probably.
on that album, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure if we
you
play
wasn't.
them again
Yeah.
now, we probably put a different slant on them a little bit. It's probably because you've got those recorded versions in your head.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I wouldn't have done it quite
Yeah.
like that.
kind of listen
But
back and like,
actually,
ooh, that guitar
We
tone's
could probably
crap.
put some new life into them. If
Yeah.
we spent
Although we
time.
did for the last Christmas when we did some 10th anniversary, we played with Orange Goblin and we played at a festival in Romania, and we played the song in Pay the Tepes off there for the first time in probably about 10 years.
We enjoyed that.
Because the idea was because we were playing in Romania, where Lailah Tepes was from, and initially everybody didn't really want to do it. Just thought it was a bit of a bad idea because you've got a
Actually-
national song. But actually, it was
Did it go down well?
yeah.
Wasn't that great?
Don't know if anyone knew it, but
So-
but on that thing in Romania though, we were like all the other bands were like Funeral Doom,
Okay.
and so when we came on, we looked like Motorhead, which is quite a nice thing to be, really. Like,
That's not often we have that.
So going from that like original Witchsorrow with, as you were saying, from Rise Above, coming through to like Candlelight, like working with them, how has it evolved? Like getting the new member in, things like that. Is there?
it was crazy getting Dave in because we've known him for years. He's playing a local death metal band.
Which was?
We were called Premathon. We were sort of comedy death metal. I was a young boy at the time. We were
A
actually
strapping young lad.
looking
is
back,
it?
we weren't too bad.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
like
fun.
silly.
Okay.
You know. But yeah, because around where we are, there's barely anyone who's into metal or any kind of metal thing going on. It's quite a small sort of
Yeah,
closed community type thing.
it's just
so
like halfway between London and the south coast, so like
So nobody kind of
there's,
bothers.
there's
doing
nothing
anything,
really there. There's no venues
yeah,
or anything.
you
Really.
travel to London if you want to see something.
Okay.
But it's that sort of thing. So you kind of knew who the local metalheads were.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you know, there's only about 5, 6 of us anyway. So yeah, I think
I asked you because you had an Iron Monkey hoodie, and I knew you could drum.
it's worth it.
Straight away, like we're gonna be pals. But like
Um,
the gear sort of side of things, how do you think your sound has evolved? If it has, what sort of influences has made you change? Things like that.
I think we've got a lot more metal. I think we always were like when we started. One of the things with the Doom thing was that there was this thing with a lot of the sort of sludge bands that sounded like ISIS. There was a lot of bands denying that they were heavy metal bands, or they were too clever for that.
Okay.
And
Can we not?
I thought that was bullshit. And so I've always been very, very, very insistent, shall we say, on the fact that we're a heavy metal band.
Do metal.
Yeah, it's like doom metal.
Yeah.
And I've always been to that, and I think as time's gone on, like we've, partly comes from playing more gigs and just feeling like I really want to go that bit further. Like I wish we had a song where, at that point in the set you could burst. And so there's a bit more, we're massive fans of Judas Priest. I think they are, other than like Saint Vitus and Black Sabbath, I think Judas Priest are probably the most important band as an influence to us. I just think they're phenomenal. Absolutely, I think Rob Halford is one of the the most.
He's one of the gods of metal.
Yeah.
He really is. Yeah.
And we come on stage to Judas Priest song every night, and it's become Turbo Lover all the time. And actually, Rob Halford knows about that, and I told him, and he went, "Why?"
But I think now, I could say to you, if you're ever in a coma, I think I'll just play that to you, and I think you just pop out.
Yeah, just snap out.
I can't listen to it anymore without getting those sweaty hands.
Yeah. It's weird.
It's weird. Like if it comes on, on the stereo or something, or like on Planet Rock or something, you do suddenly kind of get goosebumps and you kind of go into fight mode a bit. But yeah, as far as the evolution, I think just getting sort of more metal, and just sort of knowing really what we're doing a bit more, knowing how to write a song and stuff. Like the early stuff, some of the first songs we'd ever written, and so we were sort of fumbling.
Everything we had went on that first album.
Yeah.
There wasn't any. There was no.
Yeah, there wasn't songs that got ditched.
Throwaway.
Yeah.
So that was it. I think possibly that's why you feel a bit more about it.
Yeah.
Because you might have edited a bit more.
Yeah, but I think now we're writing the last record. I felt a bit more confident in kind of writing songs. There's quite a bit of it that I did sort of on my own, sort of putting the basics of a song together by myself, which I've never really done before. Because as soon as you do that, you take it from
So is this a completely collaborative effect, or is there like a leader on certain songs or sort of thing, or what?
It just depends what you've got, really. But it's always like finished together. It just depends how much of a start you have. Like sometimes it'll be Emily will have like one riff or like a thing that she wants, and you can go from there. Or like I'll have a riff, or I'll have 2 or 3 bits.
certain fragments, and see how they fit together. Okay.
I think it's never more than that gets brought really.
Yeah.
Everything else.
It's definitely become more us all writing. Because I think when I joined for God Curses, although we did write that together, it was much more like you had almost these songs and you come in and we kind of work on that. We do a bit of developing, but it was kind of, you definitely took the lead. Whereas now I think we all kind of have a bit more of an equal voice sometimes.
Some voices are more equal than others.
Yeah. But no, I definitely feel like the new album that's coming out next year is going to be
exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's much more us because we're comfortable with what we sound like, how we play, how we work together.
And then it's more kind of tweaked. It's not like a full song comes and tweak a little bit. It's bits come in.
And that's the same as the last album as well.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time when we're writing. We do quite a lot of writing. Emily and I have this big shed in our garden where we can do stuff on practice amp. Dave's got a drum kit in there with like pads on it, like rubber things. So we play quietly, but just get stuff together and like work out.
Yeah, tighten it up, refine it, sort of thing.
So that's good. But like quite often, I find that you'll come up with something, you'll start writing a song, and you'll realise you've got it all back to front.
Okay.
And like you'll start working on something. You spend like 4 weeks like trying to get something to work. It's just not working. Then suddenly you take it all apart and stitch it all back together in different order.
And
suddenly,
sometimes even take it into another song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we sort of chucked away riffs, and then you've suddenly gone.
You get the smallest bit from something that you thought was nearly done, and you'll get there and you have the full thing written, and someone will just go, "This is shit, isn't it?
It's not working. This and this isn't working." But then you take it away. Like there was that one riff that we've got, which now is just an intro, which wasn't working with anything else, and you just sort of suggested at the last minute. Well, why don't we? That was a really cool riff. We could just use it as an intro.
We've done that a few times where you take the smallest part from a song that isn't working, like not even one of the main riffs, and really quickly suddenly end up with something. We do quite a lot of jamming and stuff. Like I write a lot of riffs and stuff on my own, throw a lot of them away, but
it's still that constant playing, refinement.
And we never write when we don't need to. We're not. I can't. I find writing really horrible, tedious work. Because when we came to write the new record, after Bloodstock last year, when we played, someone from our label said, like, when are you going to start working on your album? And I sort of went, like, No Light hasn't been out for a year yet. I'm not really ready to start that much work. But yeah, it's going to take a year to finish it, and then ages after that for it to come out.
Well, I was just about to ask, is there any PR that you want to say about the new stuff? Is there any people that you're working with or anything like that?
Well, yeah, Chris Fielding produced it. Again, he's the only person I think we could ever record, just because he knows us and we know him, and like we can trust what he knows about us and how we work and stuff. So if he hears, if he listens to the song when we're playing it, he'll immediately seem to be able to just tap into what we're trying to go for. And actually, he'll tell us what we need to do to make it sound like we want. Okay. Which is really wicked. So he produced it and mixed it and stuff at Skyhammer.
That's the Conan guys, isn't
it? Yeah. Same place we did the last album actually. He's produced all 4 of our albums, but before that he was at Foal. Okay. But now he's got Skyhammer, which is his own thing that he owns with John.
The mecca of sludge.
Right there. It's good fun going there because they've got. I mean, they never throw any gear away because they run a studio. I guess good to keep like any pedals, bits and bobs that you have. So it's quite fun, playing with things. And if it's like a really good studio because it's run by musicians, so they know they're like, I've got this pedal that's exactly what you want. Yeah. So it's been mastered by Gomez, who did. He used to play drums in that band Master, but he runs a studio of his own called Orgone. And he's done a lot of stuff. He produced a lot, but also does mastering things. We produced the last Paradise Lost album, Grave Pleasures, did the first Ghost record.
Okay. That's
Primordial, stuff like that, yeah.
That's where it is. It's mastering at the moment.
Yeah, it's currently with him. He sent us one master, it sounds great, but he's like, this is just what I've done so far, just give you an idea, but I need to spend, I don't know what he does.
But yeah, just to let you hear so you know where it is.
Yes.
So I also like to ask about the artwork that you guys use, both for your shirts as well as the artwork on the albums and releases and things like that. Where do the concepts come from, or do you lease it out to somebody else? Who do you collaborate with? Things like that.
We work with lots of different people. Got a new guy for this new album, which we're really pleased with what he's done. Don't really leave people a kind of a free rein. I tend to kind of brief around the concept of the album or a theme of a song or something, which is what I've done this time. But what we've got this time, so can't wait for it to come out.
So who did you use?
We can say. A guy called Paolo Girardi, who's done a lot of kind of death metal things. What the band's worked with you?
He's done like Craven Idol, Inquisition, Bell Witch. He did. But it's very.
Actually.
No, not the new one. He did an old one. A lot of bands like that, and he does these very sort of epic, sort of kind of dancey, grave-looking things. But they're all. It's not done on computer. Like paints it all by hand on canvas.
Oh, nice.
All painted.
And he's incredible.
I couldn't. I briefed what I wanted and sent him a few little kind of thematic things.
Yeah, references and things.
Composition type things, and I couldn't have asked for better than what he's come up with. It's just like,
it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and it's so kind of complex as well. It's kind of like a Bruegel kind of lots of things going on, scenes within.
So you've got to get that on a 12-inch definitely, so you can get the full effect.
Maybe some art prints, I think.
Posters or something.
I'll definitely be having some of them on you. I'm a print.
I'll give you a sneak peek.
I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's amazing what he's done.
I think
really,
visually,
really cool.
this album, it's the best that we've. I mean, Dave's done a lot on the layout, so we'll give him his props for this because he's. We were there. Paolo did
small victories.
Paolo did the front cover artwork, and then we've kind of had to piece together things around that. And Dave's done an amazing job on what he's put together, and I think it all is all kind of really
works together
working with the music and everything. And I think that's the best about it. And we worked with a guy called Jack Welsh. What's his
he used to be in a band called Funeral.
What's his name?
Seventh Bell.
Seventh Bell. Yeah.
He's a guy from. I think he's originally from Birmingham. He was in Bristol now, but he was in a black metal band called Funeral Throne. He's been in some other bands as well.
And he's done some shirt concepts, and again, it works the same way. Kind of briefing him, and he kind of goes away and brings something back. I'm sure we'll work with him again.
Because I really do dig the artwork that you've got, so I was wanting to figure out.
It's quite varied. I think we've done lots of different things. So I mean, when we started out with Rise Above, they just kind of. Yeah,
they had a guy who's amazing, a guy called Hugh Gilmore, who he's been a graphic designer for years, and he's done loads and loads. Like he's kind of one of Rise Above's guys because he's so good that they kind of immediately kind of go to him. If a band, like, we don't really know what we want.
Yeah,
like,
give him a ring.
But he does things for like Iron Maiden and Whitesnake and like a lot of kind of classic heavy metal bands and stuff. Like, and he's sort of quite well known for it. But like, if you look at all those albums, like the Big Black by Orange Goblin and like all the old Wizard albums and stuff, that's all his kind of designs and that. But the first two albums, we didn't have any real idea of what we wanted. I sort of sent them for the first album. I sent Lee back a record that he'd actually released himself, Salvation's Answer by Revelation, which has sort of Renaissance statue things on the cover. I wanted to look like this.
Yeah.
And so Hugh just found this painting. But he sent a few ideas, and there were some that were quite psychedelic, they had weird colours on them and stuff, and like funny picture effects and things. And then this one, as soon as we saw it, like, yeah, that.
I think as time's gone on, we've got more input into
I think you've taken more control. Yeah. I mean, I'm terrible with anything visual. I can't draw. I can't visualise things. I can't explain art very well.
I think the artwork now actually ties in with the album. Sort of concept.
I'm a firm believer of like on the outside you should be able to tell what's on the inside straight away.
I think much more doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely ties together.
So I do like to ask a lot of the touring bands. The whole point of this channel is to like unearth the bands which haven't had the spotlight shone on them. So as you guys have been touring, is there any standout bands that you like or have been influenced by, like with gear or anything like that? New, old, anything like that? Like a little shout out to
influenced by,
or just even you like their live shows good, anything like that? Like
there was someone wicked recently who I really fell in love with. I can't remember who it was.
We played with.
I know, right?
That we played with.
No.
Well, I mean, there's loads of great bands out at the moment. There's like Slab Dragger are doing really well at the moment, and you've got like Serpent Venom is still.
Serpent Venom is killer. Yeah.
Wanted to do more.
They play like 3 gigs a year.
Yeah.
We keep saying we used to play together quite regularly, and then they just sort of stopped playing very often. Because it used to be like they played once every couple of months in London, and we'd have for the same bills, and then they had babies and things, so they just don't play very
Life
often.
got in the way.
Yeah. There's all the obvious ones like Electric Wizard and stuff like that. Like Electric Wizard are very important bands. Firstly, just as fans, but also in the sort of I think the development with us, because they've asked us to play with them a couple of times at really big things, where we've sort of played in big venues with them and sort of gone, oh shit.
And you still get people now going, oh yeah, I saw you at such or at the Forum show, and it's amazing. Like that's still people are still saying that.
And they're quite good with things like advice.
Well, this is one thing that I've always seen, like with this scene, the more aggro the music, most of the folk are lovely. Most folk are put off by going, the people that make that music must be insane, and then you sit down and talk to them, like, that sort of.
I mean, I think we're like the least aggro band in the world. I mean, live it's sort of different. I'm quite,
but you channel it into the show, though.
Yeah, it's part of it. I'm quite grumpy a lot of the time, but I'm also quite quiet with it. I think I'm not to certain people.
So, are there any road stories that go along with the grumpiness? Like anything you would like to dive on?
On the road, you're not that grumpy. It's the writing.
I hate writing.
Like, when it becomes unbearable.
It's because the thing is, you just don't know when you don't know when it's going to end. It's not like doing a big pile of washing up where you're like, oh, there's 20 plates there. It's like you have to go and find the plates to wash up. I don't know. You don't know how many there are.
Yeah, it could be endless.
That's a terrible metaphor. You know what I mean? You start writing a song, and it isn't like just sticking bits of Lego together. It's you're making something that you have to kind of know when it's done, and
that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really fun. I get quite kind of because it just sort of takes over my entire brain, and it gets for like a year when we make a record. I'm just really miserable and kind of not unmotivated. I just sort of I feel like we're sort of pushing a big boulder.
But when you start touring, does the payoff happen then?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't really like. I mean, I enjoy being in the studio because it's really cool and fun because you're in a studio making a record. It's not
the culmination of it is great, but it's that.
It's just all the hard work to get it done. It's just so much because you have to keep writing songs, and then
And when it's not, you know, when it's not, you've got a full-time job in the day to do, and then you've got to come home and like, okay, now I've got to be creative.
Yeah, be all about the riffs. Yeah,
and then got to do lyrics and things like that. Yeah, that just kind of weighs on me quite a lot. I feel like it's just trying to eat your way through this enormous pile of cotton wool or something.
But either way, it's your creation, and you want it to be as best as possible.
Yeah.
Is what you're trying to say.
I think that's why I get so down about it. So you're just constantly kind of trying to build this thing, and you know it just takes forever. But then, once you can play it live and stuff, it's great. Like the whole reason that I wanted to, before I even started band, the whole reason I wanted to play guitar when I was a child was because I'd see bands on TV, and I think like just playing music looks wicked.
Yeah.
Like, I think playing live looks really, really fun. And I used to like draw pictures of stages and stuff when I was like fantasizing about being in a band when I was like 13. I used to draw shit,
man.
stage out like me with
the
my
vision
my
of where
Marshall
you'll be in the
stats,
future.
Yeah. And like drop stage plans and things. They look terrible because I can't draw. So there's lots of stick men on stage. But that was my sort of big fantasy. That I've always just thought that the whole point of playing guitar and being in a band is to play live. Yeah. And I've always thought that, like, I know some people who are like really amazing guitar players who like really, really good, who hate playing live. They prefer recording and writing music. And that sucks. Yeah. Because the thing is, I can't. Like when I was learning guitar, I didn't want to learn how to. Well, I did want to learn how to play really well. Like I want to play like Marty Friedman from Megadeth or something. But being 10, 11 years old, there was no way you were ever going to be able to do that. Especially not when you didn't have a guitar teacher that could teach you how to do that. Yeah. But I always wanted to just play live. Like I'd see videos of bands like the Wild Hearts or Metallica or someone where there's where they just all like AC/DC, where bands are just rocking and it looks awesome. And that was what I always wanted to do. Madness ensues when they're on the stage. Yeah, like
it's not all precision.
Yeah, I can remember actually.
Sweating, blood on the sweat.
Yeah, that's the best bit. Like if you play a gig and you get some blood on you, it's fantastic. But I can remember really vividly when I was a kid, I had a guitar magazine that had Angus Young on the cover, and the pull quote across this spread on it, there was a massive picture of him. Like shirtless, hair completely soaking, like sweat flying off it. But the pull quote was, "Don't just tickle it, hit the bugger." And like not being able to play guitar very well, being 12 years old, or whatever I was, I thought that was the best thing I'd ever seen because at the time, like there were, being a virtuoso wasn't that cool. Essential. Yeah. Like I like bands like Megadeth and Metallica and things like that, but a lot of the sort of the bands that were kind of hip and cool at the time were like Nirvana and Green Day and things, who I loved as well, but they were the ones that were like, well, you only need 3 chords, with some volume. So that was kind of the school I came from. So, I always associated playing guitar with just like passion over talent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's why playing live is really good because I don't have to do very much. You just play and be there. Yeah. Right, guys, thank you very much for doing this interview. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll be seeing you tonight, and the sound check was fucking sick. But thank you very much, guys. Cheers. And I'll get this up soon. Thank you.